All right, today we're going to do a assembly video, and this is for the California floor plan, and we'll start with doing the galley. So I've got all my galley pieces here, and we'll just start going through one at a time. So the first piece I'm going to start with is the right hand gable. So in this particular floor plan, this is the fridge gable right up behind the driver's seat. So I'm going to take galley part number G01 and lay it flat, and then I'm going to get part number G02, which is the shelf above the fridge. I'm going to put some glue into the pockets. And I'm going to stand this up into the pocket, and all I'm going to do is just make sure that the front is flush. Take my 1-inch Craig screws, screw those all in. Now the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fridge bottom, which is galley part number G03, and same thing, I'm going to insert it into there and use my 1-inch Craig screw. Make sure the front is flush, then screw it down. Alright, now the next step is I'm going to take my galley part number G04, which is the left-hand fridge gable. Get those pockets in there, and these ones to line up. And then for this one, I'm just going to use a clamp. I got to kind of pull it back to get it to line up properly. So pull it back to where it's flush on the front. Craig screw up into there. Same thing here. And then I have 3 Craigs inside here, so I'm going to clamp this again so that the front is nice and flush. Three Craig screws up from the shelf into the side gable. Alrighty. Next step is I'm going to get part numbers G05 and G06, which are just drawer spreaders. So we're going to take these, put some glue into these pockets. And then these just have 1 Craig screw on each side. So I'm going to take the one into there, making sure that it's flush with the front of the gable. Screwing it in. Same thing here. In, flush with the front. Now, I'm going to get galley part number 07, which is the left-hand drawer gable. A bit of glue in those pockets again. Those pockets. And with this one, I just put a clamp on it so I can pull them over. Pull them nice and tight. And then get the fronts lined up. So I have them lined up. Just make sure the clamp's nice and tight. And then same as going into the other gable, just 2 Craig screws into that. Alright. So the next step is we're going to take our galley part number 08. Throw just a little bit of glue down on the bottom here. Take this into the pocket. I'm going to use my clamp here again. Put that in backwards. So as you can see, that was sticking way out the back of my cabinet. So the tabs are actually designed so that they only fit one direction. So if you have a problem like that, you just know it's on the wrong way. So you're going to do that. And here I'm just flushing it up with the back. Just flushing it up with the back of the gable right there, and then throwing my Craig screw into it. Same thing in the front, just there we go. Now I'm going to take part number G9. Part number G9. A little bit of glue on this. And And that goes into the bottom of this shelf. And then with this one here, we're not flushing up anything, so I'm just making sure that in the pocket, I'm just the same distance. Just even front and back. There. And then part number G10, I already put some glue in that Craig hole there in that pocket. So we'll stop, and again, I'm just making sure that I have the same split in the distance on the back. The overhang on the So there we have that. That's our propane shelf. Now the next step is part number G11, which is the very last gable. So here, just a bit of glue in these pockets again. And then just lining up all the tabs and putting it together. Again, just grab your clamp. Make sure the back is flush with that. Put a clamp on it to hold it. And then here I have 3 crates. All right, now our next step is we're going to put on our galley face plate, which is part number G12. And I'm just going to turn this so you can see. So our galley face piece just goes on these 3 gables, and then our top will go on. So we'll throw some glue in these pockets again. All of our pockets. And just start on one side, just clamp it together. Make sure that you're flush down with the top. There. And then this one has 3 Craigs from the back side holding that front on through the gables. Making sure that the tops are flush on those. That is our front face. Now our last step is to put the top on it. So I'm just going to clear a spot, pull it ahead, lay it down so I can flip it over. I find it's easier to put the top on when it's upside down. Okay, so I've got the gables and shelves and everything all set down on their back, or on the face. And then I've got the countertop here upside down. I've filled out all the pockets with some glue. And I'm just gonna roll this up onto here and align the pockets. Should just be able to just put a little bit here and there, and it all should come down. There we go. Perfect. So now I just go around and put in my Craig screws. Alright, so now I just need to go around and put in all my Craig screws. So for this, because of the shelves up there, you kind of either have to use a small bit or a angle drill of some kind. So Okay, so we've got them all except for this very end gable here. So our Craig screws are headed from the inside to the outside, and the pocket doesn't have a side on it. So what ends up happening is as you put the Craig screw in, it wants to pull the gable out. So the easiest thing to do is just to take your clamp, put it on there, suck that pocket as tight as you can. And then throw your screw into the back Craig hole. And then we'll do the same thing on the front. We'll throw our clamp on it. Put a little pressure on that. Down. And that's a complete galley unit for our California floor plan. Alright, so now that we've got our galley built and our hinge plates on and our drawer glides and everything on, what we're going to start with is we're going to start with our drawers, our drawer assembly. So in this galley we have 3 drawers. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to start with the bottom drawer. And just like the galley, all the numbers are in order. So our base is a G12, our front is a G13, our back is a G14, our left hand side is a G15, our right hand side is a G16. So they're just all going to go together. I'm going to start with the G12, put on a G13, and then the 2 sides, G15, 16, and then the back. So I'm going to start with by putting a little bit of glue in each of the pockets. And one thing to note, all the tabs on these are all offset, so it can't go, you can't put it together wrong. The front can only go on the front of the bottom. The tabs, as you can see, between the front and the back are offset. There's one tab that's in a different spot so that it can't be mixed up. And it's the same thing with the sides. They're offset from the front to the back. So so we got glue in all those, so I'm just going to start with the front. I'm going to put it down. Stand up the back into it. The bottom, sorry. And what I'm going to do is flush up the 2 ends. first screw in. Second screw. And then I'm going to take, so that was part G12, G13, then I'm going to go to G15, which is the left-hand side. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to flush up the top and the front. First Craig in there. Flip it over. Sorry. I'm going to do the front so I can scoot it so it's flat. And we're going to do the same thing on this side, next side. There. So now I'm putting on the right hand side, again same thing, just put it on, flush up the top and the side, screw up into there, and Craig. And then sometimes they're a little bit racked, so just pull it, or if you can't get it pulling it, just take a clamp, put it on the angle there. Where it's flush, screw it in. Do the same thing on the bottom. The Craig screws. And then we can go to the back. So the back I've already put down in there. So I just need to flush everything up. So just pulling it down so the tops are flush. Screw into the bottom. Just clamping that down to where the top is flush again. Last two screws from the bottom into the side. And we've built the drawer box. So we'll do the same thing on the next ones. Again, they're all the same. So this one was numbers 12 through 16. The next one is 17 through 21, and then 22 through 27. And they all just start at the fronts and work your way around and put all the crags in. Okay, so we've got our galley finished now, all of our drawers built. So the next step that we're going to have is I'm going to do the assembly on the storage unit. So what we're going to start with is I've got storage unit S01 laying down flat on the table. I've already installed my aluminum corner piece to the S01 piece, put my 4 screws into it, and then I've put a bead of PL down the track. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the S02 piece into that aluminum track, and it will just go into here, and then I'll put my 4 screws into it to hold it in place too. Alright, so I've got the gable S2 in. Now I'm just going to screw into the pre-drilled holes. There's 4 on this to connect the corner piece to the gable. Okay, so now we're going to take S03. We're going to put some glue into the pockets. And drop S03 shelf in. And then put our Craig screws in to hold it in. Line all of the tabs. So for this, I'm just going to make sure that I've got this bottom over tight, and then it'll suck down. My first Craig headed down, and then I'll go across the bottom here, and then up the side and make this corner square. And then one more right here. And then depending on how far out this is, you might have to put a clamp on it. Just to pull it in a little bit, closer. Last Craig screw in. Okay. Now our next step is our front shelf in this. So this is part number 04. So again, what we're going to do is just a little bit of glue in the pockets. So for this, because the shelf is set back from the front to accommodate our camber door, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it a long clamp, put it on here, I'm going to pull this in, and what I want to do is I want to make it so that the top side of this shelf is flush with the curve of the gable. So right there. And then that'll put it away from the front so that our timbre door can slide between the front and their shelf. So there we have those two in. Now our next part is our dividing gable. So what I've got for that is a part number S05. Again, into these pockets, a little bit of glue. Line up all those. All those pockets. Once we get those lined up, it should go down just a little bit and then into the pockets. Sometimes, depending on how they are, this one's got pockets into the back, into the face, into the bottom shelf, and into this shelf we just put in. So they're a little bit snug, so you just put a clamp on there, and sometimes you all snug in there, and then we'll do the same thing here. So we just bring this down to where it's flush there. So now that I've got it like this, there we go. I'm going to put screws down bottom shelf, suck it down tight. And then I'm going to throw clamps kind of in the way. So there's 5 screws from this gable into the front and into the bottom shelf. And then we've got 2 screws from this shelf into that S05 gable that we just put in. So I'm just gonna knock that down to where it's flush again. There we go. 2 screws into that. Okay, so we've got our dividing gable in here. So our next step is to put our next shelf in. So we're going to do the same thing as the first one. Get me a clamp. And I'm going to put this this into the pockets. Clamp it there. And then same thing as the last, I'm just gonna make sure that the tops are nice and flush with the gable. So we've got that right there. And there'll be 2 Kreg screws into it. Up there in the top. Okay, we've got S6 in. Now our next step is to put in our S07, which is our rear tall gable. So we're going to get into those pockets, line these up, and I've already put my aluminum extrusion in. So I'm just going to take that and start tapping that down into my pockets. They're just a little bit snug just because we have to put it in at a little bit of an angle to get these, to get everything to line up properly. So there we go. Just take it up a little bit. Go. Alrighty, we've got that there. I'm gonna just run a clamp on this. So we've got it flushed up at the top here with the top. So same thing, we're just going to make sure that this is flush with the back of this gable. And put our 2 Kreg screws in again. From the back side here. One. There's 2. So now we've got that. We're just going to run our Kregs in from the outside here into the face for this gable. Alrighty. Now our next step is going to be to put on this rear gable that houses our batteries. So we'll start with the 2 shelves. So we'll throw just a little bit of Glue in our pockets again, just like every time. And we'll start with the S08. So these two are two different sizes, S08 and S09, obviously for the shape of the walls. So we're going to throw the S08 in, which is the bottom one. Put it in first, hit it into its pockets, and then same thing, we have two Craig screws that need to go in there. So we're going to pull this up, make it flush with the back. Put in our first Craig, and then our second. And then we're going to do the same thing with our S9 gable.
Yes.
And then our next step is to put on the final gable. So glue in our pockets again. So this part is S10. And it tabs into the front. Oh, forgot that pocket. So I'm just starting at the bottom here. There's two Craigs that are into this space piece. Just making sure that the bottoms are flush. One. The face. And then our next step is to get this shelf in here. So just like all the others, we need to get it to be flush with the back. So for this, I'm going to need a clamp just because it's so small. Scoot it off the table a little bit and just clamp on it and pull it to where it's flush. Right there. And then we've got two Craig screws in this here too. Clamp just to hold it down, flush up that top corner. Okay, so our last two steps here is to put on our tops to our unit. So we've got an S11 and an S12 piece. The S11 is this little one on the side. So it just has two tabs going into this gable and then from this gable into the top. So just in. Now with these, depending on the vehicle, what we've done is we've made them long so that we can actually belt sand them off afterwards. So what we're going to do on all the shelves, what we did is we flushed up the tops. On this one we're going to do them different. We're going to flush up the back side so that we can belt sand this off and follow the same profile of the wall in the van. So we can just get a nice snug fit on it. So we've got that down to being the back flush. We're going to have two screws in the back side here. One there, and then two coming from the end gable into the front. So again, we want to flush up the back side. So for this, I'm just going to throw a clamp on, just pull it down just a little bit to where we're flush. There we go. And then we'll screw up through the gable and into the top. All right. Then our last step is the main top on the whole thing, which is our S12. So I've put glue in the pockets already on this, and we're just gonna line up the that. Sometimes it's just like the Galley. Sometimes you have to kind of manipulate the tabs so that they all fit into where they're supposed to be going. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to flush up the backs. So I've got this end flush and good. So throw screws in. Now that I got that done, I'm going to come to this other side just because I need to tap this gable in just a little bit. Clamp on it to get a little pressure so that I can and there we go. So we'll just finish putting all of our screws in, and that is completed storage unit. Okay, so we're going to build our last Okay, so here we are. We're going to build the back storage unit, which is the last item in the kit itself. And so what we've got the top of it, 3 gables, a back and a front. So we'll just start with BS1, and then we're going to put BS2 into it here. Again, the tabs all just line up. I've put glue in all the tabs. So all I'm doing is making sure that the fronts are flush here and down in the tab. And into all those Craig holes. Okay, so we're gonna start here and put together our last unit in the van. What we've got is we've got our back storage little compartment. So we're gonna start with laying down our BS01, and we're gonna put our BS02 into the back of it here. And then what we're going to do is, before we screw that down for our alignment, so this is so that we can know how far back our setback is on the front here. We're going to put it into there. So that gives us our alignment with the front. Putting a screw down. Our Craig in the back there. Then we come here, I've got this is tight, so I'm going to put one down there. And then from our BS01 into our BS04, like that. Now here on the front, my Craig is from the inside so that we don't see it. So what I'm going to do is put a clamp on here to hold this in while I screw it, because it's on this side, it sits, this is the driver's side, and so it sits up against our storage unit. So the pockets are open. So if you don't put a screw in there, it's gonna, when you tighten that screw up, it's going to pull it out, so it's not flush anymore. So that. Now the next thing is our BS04, which is our divider. So we're going to put that in here. Now one thing to note, I've already glued all of my pockets, so they're all ready to go. So we're there. I'm just putting this clamp on here so that I can pull it tight to that back when I put these Craigs in. There we go, got all that down. So we've got one screw to put down in our BS02 into our BS03, and then into our center divider. S05. It's going to go on the end here. We just have the front of this unit, so our seat goes in between here. So line up that pocket, and then we're just going to flush those up. Flushing up the top here with the top of the other one. And then go to this other side. Now again, this one has an open pocket because it's next to that to our storage unit. So again, I'll just throw a couple clamps on here. Pull this tight. There we go. And again, just lining up, making sure that those two are flush. So there we built our storage unit, our rear storage unit. So I'll now get our drawer slides and install them before it goes into the van. Okay, here we are at the back of the storage unit, and what we're gonna do now and look at is the tambour doors. So I've already got this one installed here on this side, so this is what we'll be installing here next. I'll show you how to do all that. So when you get your kit, what's going to happen is you're going to end up having just some tambour door pieces. So there's going to be 2 track pieces coming. There's going to be a handle with a protective film on it. And then there's going to be 13 pieces of the tambour door itself. So these all just slide together. So 12 of them, they're going to come 3 sections of 4 and then just 1 loose. And so I'll show you how to put those together and what kind of stuff we need to do to prep for the install. So I guess our first step is we're going to take our tracks that we have. So these have a film on them as well. You're going to pull that film off, and you can see inside that they have pre-drilled holes everywhere. Okay, so every like 6 inches. And what we're going to do is we're going to put both of these tracks into the cabinet. So they just fit right into the side there. And then screw holes into them. So what I'm using for a screw here is just a number 6 5/8. And they'll be included in the kit itself. That side. And here with the other side, just pulling the film off. So here we'll do the other side, same as the first side, just put it in there and then find the screw holes. So we've got the sides on, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to work on these. So all of these, when they come, are not going to be put together. So what do first off is just line up the bottoms. Just give them just a little sand if they're rough. And that's just from cutting them on the saw. So I just kind of give them just a little bit of a sand on the angle there just to get rid of the burrs and stuff so that it slides nicely in the track. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take all these and we're going to lock them all together. So we just have a little bulb on the one side and it slides into the track on the other. Just like that. So slide that one on. Like I say, there should be 13 of these little sections. Okay, and then the final one will be the handle. So it works the exact same way, just that little bulb. Slides into there. And then I just pull this little film back so that we can get it once it's in. And so what we're going to do now is I'm going to square all this up. So what I do is either into here, or if you have a square or something, you're going to run the one in tight and knock all these others so that they're all the same length and into there. And then what I do is you take a piece of duct tape or Gorilla Tape here, and I just come about an inch or so away from the end. And just, like I say, just make sure that they're all square. Take that down. Same thing out here. tape, all the tape is for is just to make sure that when you're running in the track, that it runs up smoothly and doesn't tilt on you and slide, because they will slide. Now, you will also get with this kit 2 little end caps. So these end caps go into the end of the door here. So these are just sliders so that the aluminum doesn't wreck the track. And then what we're going to do is come up here and slide that down into there. Now for these, what we're going to have is these are put on the coil for the storage of the tambour door. It just comes, so this is a 15 and 16. So what we're going to do is it comes, you're going to put 2 1.25" Craig screws into there. And what I'm going to do is pull that track a little bit, get it into here, and then just snap that up into place. Like I said, I'm just going to try to pull that back and then just my track is just a little bit long on that side, so I have to sand that. There, this side's good. There, so the last thing to do is a stop. So what we've got is this stop here, and again we're going to use just a 1.25" Craig screw, and we're going to screw that on. So for this, we just center the stop in our opening. Okay. '25" Craig screw. Into there, and that completes our tambour door, so the stop brings it so that we still have access to our handle from the other side. And there you have tambour door installation. So the next thing that we'll do before we install this unit is put in our hinges. So we've got finish our hinges in here, throw these doors on, and then do our install into the van. Okay, so here we are. We're ready to put the doors on for the access into the wheel well of the storage unit. So I've already got this door done. So here we'll take our blind hinges. So these are blind hinges. The part number is 71B955. And we'll push those into the machine holes. And then we'll just line them up, make sure that they're running square. And then again, we're using just a number 6 by 5/8 screw. To the holes on the Blum hinge there. Then we'll take one of our doorknobs that comes. So this piece is just friction fit into the hole. So just pop it into there in this section. And then same thing, you just line it up, make it run parallel with the front of the door. And then just make sure that it functions properly. Okay, and what we've got is hinge plates. So there's a little arrow on these hinge base plates. So the arrow goes into the opening. Into the pre-drilled holes. Okay, now we've got this cleat. So what this cleat is this cleat, which is the S18 piece. What it is it's the door, our stop for these doors so they don't fall down in. So take that up into the corner and into the pre-drilled holes. And reach the quarter. Thread screw. There's going to be 4 of those. And then we can put on our doors. And just kind of, there's a little rod in the front. So when you look at these hinges, you can see here, there's just a little catch rod here, and then a clip that locks it in the back. So open them up, slide the little catch rod into the front of the cabinet, into the base plate, first one in, second one in, and there we have our doors. So the final step with that is just to put on our catches for the latches there. So depending if you want them on or not, these ones don't necessarily have to have the catch latch because they're not going to open up when you're driving or anything. So then our next step will be the front door on the side of the storage unit. So I'll get this door ready to go and installed.